Good morning. We're just leaving the hostel at Borrowdale and YHA. I was absolutely shattered yesterday. We ended up doing about 15.5 miles or so at the end of that. As you can see, the weather's not great this morning. We've made a late start. Quite a late start, it's just the back of 10 o'clock. And this could be set until about lunchtime. I think we've got a fair climb ahead of us onto Snake Pass. But the flip side is we've got a short one today. It's going to be around 8 miles, I think, to Dungeongill. But not feeling too bad this morning. The unmentionables are a little unmentionable, but we're heading up into this lot, which, going by the weather at the moment, could be fun. It might well be chucking it down with rain at the moment, but this is just spectacular. It really is. But we've got to keep walking. I suppose we shouldn't really be too surprised it's raining, because Borrowdale apparently is the wettest valley in the UK, so seems that it's more likely to rain here than anywhere else. We're not actually en route at the moment. We're taking a sort of shortcut rather than walking back the way. There's a bridge across the River Derwent a little further up that we'll cross and pick up the route there. And I can hear the purists crying out in anguish about that. But as far as we're concerned, it's part of the Cumbria way. We went wrong enough yesterday that it doesn't really matter. And yeah, the way marking is so sketchy on this. It's not that you're going to get lost, it's more that it's just awkward and it costs time at junctions to make sure you're going the right way. And that you've maybe walked half a mile up a track before you're actually realising that you've gone the wrong way. But we got there in the end. We have an audience. Very rocky path here this morning. This is a public bridleway. It's a bit hard on the feet, this, but what a landscape we're in. Got the River Derwent on the right, and up ahead, that big slab of rock, we're going to turn right in front of it. The path we're on here actually is part of Alfred Wainwright's coast to coast path, so probably the best known of his creations, and this is a section that's always going to be busy with long distance walkers. Most people walk that, I think, west to east. but for me I think I'd rather walk it east to west and be finishing in this landscape. But it's just stunning, and we're still pretty low down. This is going to be quite a long one today, even though, or long video, despite the fact that we're only going 8 miles or so. Just, as I said at the top of High Pike, it's not really a beautiful landscape, but it's spectacular. There's just something about it that's special. Really just absolutely incredible. Path has been stone pitched here, which makes it really awkward. Designed to help with erosion, just with the number of people that come and visit the park. Otherwise, the whole of this would just end up as a impassable bog. So while it's hard on the feet, it's a bit of a necessary evil, unfortunately. But, water here is just crystal clear. It's, I suppose in a way it's an exciting landscape. You get a real feeling of wilderness, of being out in the middle of nowhere. We're now in the dale that leads up to Stake Pass, so it's going to be a steady climb, and then the last few hundred metres are going to be quite a stiff climb. Going to be following this river all the way up. I'm not sure what it's called, I need to look at the map, probably annotate it on screen for you. It might still be the Derwent actually. but I'm not sure. Oh, hang on. Path is still really rocky. It's pretty slow going. And we've met another Cumbria way walker this morning. He started at Elta Water, so he's made good time to here, walking through to Keswick, which is quite a long day, although he is downhill all the way now, really. At the moment, can't help feeling a bit like Frodo, and so I'm walking into Mordor.
My goodness, where did that big blighter come from?
It's probably fallen off one of these crags.
Yeah.
Always spend a little time looking back the way, because you forget what's there, and it's always likely to be just as good as what you can see in front of you. And what we can see in front at the moment, well, once we get round that big rock, it's pretty spectacular. We've spotted a few deer across on the hillside, on the other side of the valley, but we've done maybe 2.5–3 miles now, so we shouldn't be too far off the last climb. Maybe, I think, about another mile, 2 miles possibly. So we've made it to the top of the valley. This is actually looking at the map called the Langstrath. River spectacular up here. Bad news is that waterfall there, we're walking up the side of it. It looks as if there is a made path, so we're going to be zigzagging up most of it, which is great news. So hopefully it's a bit easier than it looks. But once we're at the top of that, it's only a couple of miles down into Dungeon Gill where we're going for the day. But this is just an incredible landscape, it really is. This is slightly easier than I remember it, but that doesn't make it easy. Really getting the burn in my legs coming up this, but here's a waterfall. We're going right up next to it in the zigzags. And what we got up there is a raven doing some acrobatics. But yeah, we're maybe a quarter of a way up now, but superb views back down the Langstrath. Much easier going now. Not given away by my heavy breathing, but the engineered path here is a real boon. That's us at the well, the top of the steep climb anyway. We've still got a bit of uphill to go through this. It's a bit difficult to make out where the path goes, but it's a nice gentle incline to the top of the pass. We're not going up on any of the hills either side, but I guess this must have been glaciated up here. You could see them further down, but it's just riddled with glacial deposits up here. The little drumlins everywhere, I think they're called. But yeah, not too far to the top now. We've just come over the top of Stake Pass, over the summit, so just starting our descent into Dungeon Gill. But quite the change in landscape up here. It's pretty blimmin' bleak, and we had a little bit of sun coming up the side of the waterfall, but as soon as we came out onto the top, wind's picked up. We got quite a bit of cloud cover as well. Fortunately, the weather's been a lot better than the forecast predicted, and it stayed dry for us. But yeah, I think it's something like 2.5 miles down into Dungeon Gill, and I'll be glad to see it, quite honestly, today. But yeah, it's been some walk so far. This is the start of the real descent now. Just walking across the col there, and now we're starting to go downhill properly, and the view of the hills on either side should open out a little bit as we're walking down. Again, I'm not entirely sure what they are off the top of my head. I'll need to have a look at the map, and I'll hopefully annotate them on screen for you. But we are heading into the Langdales. Dungeon Gill just nestles right at the bottom of this. But this is just one dramatic landscape at the moment. Right, out the wind a little bit, but I'm sure as we turn this corner, I'm probably going to get it full in the face, I would imagine, the wind. One thing I haven't mentioned is that this is actually a pack horse route. So the pack horse route would have gone right over into Rosthwaite and dipped down into Keswick. Probably starting somewhere near Coniston. These were really vital arteries, probably almost the equivalent of motorways really, back in the day, for shifting goods and supplies across the lakes. Same with the Peak District as well. There we go, we're beginning to open up. All stone pitched down here in the path, but just what a landscape. There's just something about that rock up there, it's really imposing, sort of almost standing sentry over the top of the valley here. That's our way ahead. Rain's still holding off for the moment. It's a harsh landscape. Nearly at the bottom now. When we get to that bridge, should be relatively flat all the way down to Dungeon Gill. Although I fully expect it to be very stony and very rocky, as it has been. And I've got to say, I'm so glad to see that sign. The sheep agrees. great coming over the top, but by heck, that was hard work. So hopefully this will be a little easier. Looks like there might be a bit of rain coming in, but that doesn't matter too much. We're near the finish. Just a walk along the bottom of the valley to our accommodation, and that's us done for the day. Stone walls and farmland must mean we're coming into civilization, and the landscape gets a bit softer as we're coming down. Just the walls up there is sort of the edge of it. Just shows you how far we've come, but hopefully around there we'll be able to see a pub, and I'm quite looking forward to that. Well, we just left Old Dungeon Gill. I was so glad to get there. Just guzzled a pint of lemonade and lime, but we've made a bit of an elementary error, and I suspect we're not the first, and we definitely won't be the last. But there's an old Dungeon Gill and a new Dungeon Gill. Our accommodation is a new Dungeon Gill, and as is the way of things when you're knackered, it's the one further down the road. So we've got about another 20-minute walk to get into the bunkhouse. Good news is it makes tomorrow slightly shorter than we expected, but yeah. We're not walking down the official route because it's actually been torture walking along that bridleway, just with how stony it is. So there's a footpath that runs parallel close to the river, and we're going to follow that. Takes us right where we want to be. So another 20 minutes down. Watch out the way shape. That's exactly where we want to go. Come on. We're in the right place. Ah, there we go. And I guarantee you this is going to be, you need to go to the reception at oh, you've got a code for it.